Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and today I'm going to be talking about a little bit different of a play in the EV space with Ford Motor Company, and I've got them up on the screen right now. They are in the automobile sector, and they trade on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol F. The reason why I'm looking at Ford today is because with the market trading at all-time highs, I'm looking for some stocks that I can look for a 2 to 5 year time period that currently are trading at a discount. And I think that Ford, albeit just due to the fact it's a large cap stock, I don't necessarily put it in the, hey, this is a long-term value add growth type of stock, but rather it's a little bit more speculative. And I think that that's really going to come from their entrance into the EV space. So some of the ways that we can compare them is against the high-flying Tesla right now. As you can see, Ford is actually down from a year ago today, where as you can see, the 52-week change for Tesla is up nearly 750%. So the rivals for Ford and GM, which has kind of been the standard for the longest time, you can see that they trade at a very similar approach. But one of the reasons why I am looking at Ford under this is if you look at the market cap for Ford versus Tesla and even GM versus Tesla, you can see that they are at 34.3 and 59.6 billion dollars respectively. And I do believe that these numbers are as of the quarter end. Yeah, you can see data as of December 31st. So Tesla's market cap is right at 20 times larger than what we're seeing for Ford. And so just by looking at that and saying, hey, why would I want to invest in this company if I can go and invest in Tesla or I can go and invest in NIO? Well, the key numbers that I want to look at are down here where you see the earnings growth, the revenue growth, and then you can see some of the total revenue numbers. So for those of you who are not familiar with Ford leadership, they recently have undergone changing some of the old guard at the top, and they have a new CEO in Jim Farley, who's been with the company a long time, and we've already started to see some of those changes implemented. So as you can see, we've got the total revenue here of $130.9 billion, and then when you see the profit is actually down, earnings growth is down for Ford. And let's actually go look at some of those fundamentals. So this, I'm going to actually look as of a year as opposed to the quarterly to show you that the total revenue has pretty much been stagnant over the past 5 years. The 2020 numbers will be updated when they come out in terms of the earnings announcement. And then you can see that operating income and net income have been decimated over that same time period. So why would I want to invest in Ford? Well, the good news is they have a lot of expenses that are expected. We know where the weak points are in their balance sheet, and I imagine that Ford leadership does as well. The big reason that we see a huge cost associated with building their product is largely associated with the labor cost, which they haven't been able to drive down, as well as some of the manufacturing cost, which just due to the fact that they've had a lot of different parts being manufactured in different places, you're seeing some of those expenses go up. And since those are all identifiable problems, I personally believe that they're going to be able to cut some of these costs. You can even see that happened when they got out of the automotive industry for the sedan market. So let's go look at some of their high flyers right now. So now I'm on the Ford website, and as you can see, they're talking about just what they have out there. The key driver of growth is going to be in their F-150 line. So right now, if I go down here in the F-150, what I am looking at or what I am encouraging is this product line is the single best-selling truck in the United States. They sell millions of these every year between the new and the used market, and they are by leaps and bounds farther ahead of the next competitor. And that is largely due to the fact that they have a huge increase in sales from the fleet side, as well as that it's just a really good truck. And full disclosure, I drive one of these trucks. So I'm a huge fan of it. I think that there's a lot of capabilities here, but the underlying component here is, can trucks be the sole thing that carry them forward? So the good news is that they have two products that have just come out in the Mustang Mach-E, as well as the Ford Bronco, which is a resurfacing of one of their older vehicles. So as far as the Ford Bronco, I think that this is going to be a big deal as long as it can hold on to some of the value add that the F-150. So while vehicle specific numbers are not readily available for the Ford F-150 in terms of the profitability, it's expected that every brand new F-150 they sell takes about $10,000 straight to the bottom line. If some of that profitability can get carried over to the Ford Bronco, which is a beautiful vehicle, then I think that they're going to be introducing a second very high profitable vehicle to their bottom line in the Ford Bronco. So that means that we have two Ford vehicles that are absolutely killing it, with the Bronco already having full reservations to 180,000 vehicles. So that is not an immaterial number. All of that being said, and then we get to the point of the Mustang Mach-E as well as an electric F-150 coming in 2021, you have some of the electric vehicles here. The first all-electric vehicle is going to be the Mustang Mach-E. The reason that this is a huge deal is because if they can take some of this success, if they can push some of this value into the broader market, then you're going to see them on the EV side, you're going to see them on the self-driving side, as well as you're going to see hopefully another profitable vehicle. So we've got a lot of identified weaknesses in the stock, and we've got a lot of potential strength. So let's take a look at what that could look like for the valuation of Ford stock. When we're looking at these valuations, let's change it from the annual to the quarterly basis. And this is why I think that Q4 is going to be a big deal for them. As you can see, total revenue on a year that we didn't expect them to have any growth, they really turned it around in Q3. So again, this is on the rebound, and you can see that it's actually just as good as Q4 of 2019 was. This is a big deal. If we can see a huge jump in Q4, I think that they may salvage the 2020 year. You can also see the total net income as well as total operating income. Both of them had rebounds to positivity, especially the net income in Q2 and Q3. So if we see this trend continue in Q4, again, we're cutting down on some of the expected cost, and we're really growing into the strength that the stock has. So when you look at the valuation associated with that, they are trading much lower than the industry averages. Again, you can see price to sales, you can see price to book, price to earnings. They don't even have price to earnings because that's so low at this point in time. In fact, it's a negative number. So all they need to do is change some of the profitability metrics, which I thoroughly believe they are going to do. I think that they are going to have a big Q4, which is why I'm going to begin investing this week prior to when they announce earnings. As you can see, though, they need to get profitable, and I think the Ford Bronco, I think the Mustang Mach-E, and the continued dominance of the F-150 line is going to give them that strength. As of right now, they don't have a dividend. They had one prior to the coronavirus pandemic, and that was one of the things they cut. I would prefer they aggressively target growth before bringing back the dividend. If they say they're going to start offering a dividend at this point in time, as a shareholder, I would be somewhat disappointed. The key thing that I want to look at right now is they have a lot of debt. You can see that the two areas that we've been looking at is they've got less sales growth and more debt than all of their competitors. So again, identified area of weakness. They are taking steps to mitigate this. So I'm interested to see what that looks like going forward. And you can see a lot of the auto industry is consistently trying to drive down those costs. So all that being said, if they do that, if they have some of these capabilities, where does that put the stock? So right now, if we simply said that we're going to change or operate at a PE ratio, of which right now they currently don't have one, we could operate off of a price to sales ratio. If you see the stock is currently trading at a 0.26 ratio compared to the industry average of a 20 to a 21, if we can see Ford change the perception and change this particular metric, then what you're going to see is the stock is capable of going to a $15 a share to a $20 a share, of which we haven't seen in the past 5 years at this point. So we haven't even seen $20 a share. So there's a lot of potential with this stock. I personally will be investing in them, and I think that this is something that we can see some long-term growth in the future. So if you found this content helpful, please leave a like down below. I talk about my trades in the Discord. That'll also be linked in the description. And if you want to know when I'm getting into Ford, when I'm buying, when I'm selling, and the options associated with it, let me know. So if you found this content helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you later.